For the average Joe, it's pretty hard to look scary and intimidating when all you've got is your own pink skin and a bad attitude. Luckily for you though, that's where masks come in. Whilst no one will be scared of your normal stupid human face, getting crafty with a mannequin head or making it rain at a costume shop will suddenly bring about a whole new layer of spooky to your look, going from freak to chic. That, or if you're on a budget, just cut someone else's face off and slap it over your own and you're onto a winner. Pays to keep it simple. Get your craft glue ready for some creative magic, as I'm Ash from What Culture, and these are the 10 best horror movie masks. 10. Smiley face. Smiley. Probably one of the grossest looking masks on this list, the Smiley mask is some sick rendition of an emoticon. Made out of bloated flesh, with lacerations sewn shut to represent eyes and a mouth. Yes, gross. Smiley is the tale of a college student who fears she'll be the next victim of an internet killer after getting herself entangled with an urban legend. The film is admittedly a hot pile of trash, but does take the step of featuring YouTube stars in breakout roles to give its internet horror premise some authenticity, alongside its horrible fleshy antagonist seen through webcam screens. Somewhere between a giant featureless baby and a potato carving, Smiley's mask is legitimately unnerving and brings a whole new level of terror to your everyday emoticons. Let's hope they never get creative with a poo emoji mask then. 9. Ghostface. Scream. One of the simplest premises on Scream, the Ghostface mask is born from the idea of it being able to be purchased just about anywhere. This generic mask is effective not so much for its appearance, but that literally anyone could be lurking underneath the anonymity it provides. From a Halloween reveller to a legitimate killer. And more often than not, it's the latter. Obviously hiding your identity is the point of masks, but that Ghostface is played by multiple murderers and utilised as a meta-commentary on the slasher genre only serves to make him all the more frightening. Cheaply made as what looks like a spooky replica of the Scream painting, Ghostface's mask taunts its victims in a caricature of their own fear, as well as eerily referencing the Grim Reaper. Being meta really is inescapable here. 8. Night Owl. Stage fright. Ridiculously realistic animal masks are some of the most disturbing of them all, combining human and creature into something that isn't quite fully either. The Night Owl from Stage Fright is the perfect example of this, the mask being an oversized barn owl head detailed with feathers that looks positively gross when attached to a normal body. Nobody wants to feel like the prey of a giant frickin' monster bird, but that's exactly what Suavi's creepy owl does. Stage Fright has a troupe of actors practicing a play that turns out to be their reality, when an escaped murderer chooses them as his next targets. Strangely enough, their antagonist in their play is an anonymous mass murderer named the Night Owl, who then gets rewritten to be Irving Wallace, a known actor turned serial killer that was recently locked away. Guess who it is that escapes and turns up to get his killing back on? Of course, the one and only Irving Wallace. Tempting fate never goes well. 7. Hockey mask. Friday the 13th, Part 3. You'd be surprised to think that a killer's defining look and his one truly memorable gimmick was actually brought about in the third installment of an 11-film franchise. But that's exactly the case when it comes to our lovable protective gear enthusiast of the Friday the 13th films. Jason picked up his hockey mask on a whim and it has defined him and the franchise ever since. The king of slashers by body count alone, it's only fair that the guy has his own style. Jason's mask is most effective for being a generally normal thing to see out and about that hides a much more sinister appearance underneath, and chosen for nothing other than to make his look that much more ordinary. Read, hide his hideously mangled face out of the equipment on hand. 6. Christiane. Eyes without a face, or les yeux sans visage. Michael Myers' dream woman, anyone? Taking its title quite literally, Eyes Without a Face depicts Christiane, a young girl disfigured in a car accident that is made to wear a mask to conceal her injured face. With her surgeon father obsessed with crafting her a new face any way possible, namely by kidnapping other women and cutting theirs off to use as a replacement, Christiane lives a strange and lonely existence. In black and white, she almost looks beautiful. It's only when you see the cold, hard lines of her inhuman cover-up that something reveals itself to be wrong. Blurred and impossibly smooth, it's almost like watching a walking Photoshop filter walk around on screen. The whole effect is pretty disturbing and serves to only make Christiane's inevitable breakdown that much more terrifying when she's had enough of her confinement. What have we learned here? Don't lock people up and stick other people's faces onto them. It's rude and they don't like it. Some life advice from Ash. 5. Plastic mask. Alice, sweet Alice. Uncanny Valley is that strange sensation of something somewhat familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. And Alice, Sweet Alice's transparent mask is the perfect example of the phenomenon. Human enough to be engaging and plastic enough to be completely terrifying, the Alice mask is decorated with makeup in a classically beautiful way, despite being completely devoid of life. Just like me. The disparity between a giant, shiny, unmoving face and a human body makes it look like some creepy doll has come to life. Doing its part to disguise the killer at the heart of this movie's murder mystery, the mask is an eerie reminder that whilst we're presented with what people want to show us in everyday life, you don't know who someone really is on the inside. 4. Peach Fuzz. Creep. Strapped to the face of someone quite so unpredictable as Joseph in Creep, any mask would be inherently scary. A small but recurring theme throughout Creep and its sequel is a rubber Halloween mask based on a werewolf, permanently stuck in an ugly snarl. Joseph claims that this was his father's mask and it's representative of a friendly wolf named Peach Fuzz, which is disturbing enough, truthfully, before revealing later in the film that its purpose was to confirm his wife's animal pornography problems. Peach Fuzz ain't no friendly wolf. It's one of those masks that's disturbing for its over-the-top nature before any rambling weirdos get their hands on it and make it 10 times worse, and more than gives away Joseph's duplicitous nature between calm and collected nice guy and the feral killer he really is underneath. 3. William Shatner. Halloween. One of the most famous masks in horror movie history, Michael Myers' Halloween mask is infamously known to be made up of a repurposed William Shatner mask. Yes, that is the Star Trek guy. The mask was created by removing the eyebrows and sideburns, widening the eye sockets, painting it white and teasing the hair out into something crazier looking, all working together to make one of the most iconic movie pieces ever. The Halloween mask was accidentally given away at the end of the second movie, meaning subsequent versions were imitations trying to capture the original magic. You'd think wearing a mask makes sense when surrounded by Halloween revelers whilst you're out to surreptitiously do some stabbing, but the real reason for Michael's disguise is never really disclosed in the original films, and it makes it all the more scary. Anyone who can cope being in a rubber face for hours on end for no purpose obviously has some issues. 2. Pig Head. Motel Hell. Now, this is the entry that comes in place of the Saw franchise's own pig face mask, knocking the whole concept up a notch by using an actual frickin' decapitated pig head whacked over a man's face. This is supposed to be a horror comedy, but Jesus Christ does it push the boundary on this one with its Mr. Piggy nightmare. A brother and sister duo sells special meat on a roadside stand. But of course, as you'd expect in literally any scenario, special is a synonym for human. It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters after all. It's during the film's last act that Vincent puts both the pork and the chop into, well, pork chop. I feel like the whole terrifying nature of going whole hog with a real pig's head speaks for itself when it comes to this mask, blurring the lines between animal and human by taking both to the butcher's block. 1. Leatherface. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Inspired by real-life serial killer Ed Gein, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's antagonist Leatherface is a man who takes his arts and crafts very seriously. Only problem is, his favourite materials to get creative with are usually attached to live human bodies, so there's got to be some work carried out before he can get some nice bones for his furniture, or a lovely sheet of skin for his lamps, and of course, a nice face for his face. Leatherface's human skin mask has got to be the most terrifying example of horror movie accessories ever, with peeling and decayed flesh hiding a maniacal man purely intent on killing. Not only is the very concept of the material enough to send a shiver down your spine, but it's also not very well made, and practice makes perfect. That means you know he's always after some fresh sewing options. No thank you.